a sweep, we had one where we did an arm lock and one back take, okay? In the first two, the big detail when I do this arm drag is I want to be on the same side as my opponent's head, okay? Not going out to the back. I'll explain that in a second. But I showed you guys like a couple different ways you can break the grip, right? The most common we were using was like cross grip on the sleeve, and then my hand would go underneath his wrist and break that grip, right? To then start dragging his arm across. You guys could go cross grip and behind the tricep. However you guys like to break the grip and drag the arm, it's fine with me, okay? But let's say the first two, guys, when I drag his arm across, I'm pulling my knees to my chest and I'm trying to get myself underneath my opponent like this so that I'm like face to face with him. Not like if I was trying to take his back and going out this way, right? So when I drag, I pull myself underneath him and I'm gonna reach over and grab his armpit, okay? Like this. Now, my hand is gonna release his sleeve and go underneath his leg and pull his leg to me. Now it's very simple. I just open my legs, use my outside leg as a pendulum, and sweep him right to the top, okay? So that was technique number one. Technique number two was like, we're in the same position, I drag, I pull Rubens in, and maybe now I can't get under his leg, maybe he's just pinching his knee really tight here or something like that. So now I take my elbow and cover his wrist, right? I don't need to do anything crazy, I just cover the wrist. Now I'm gonna step on his hip on the opposite side and shift myself into the arm lock position. So when I do this, I need to open my elbow so that his head can pass underneath and my leg goes across his back. This is one of the big details here. You guys cannot have your leg here. The other big detail is I'm not doing a hip escape. Notice how when I do this, my hip stays flat on the mat. Okay, a lot of you guys when we're doing this, you were shifting like this. This ruins the arm lock, okay? So when I make that shift, I cover the elbow, I step, I open my elbow, and I shift straight across and bite my leg down. Now I pass the leg over the top and I have his arm under my armpit. Nice no-handed arm bar there, okay? So then the third one, now we're doing the back take. Okay, so for this one, I don't go underneath him, I go out the back. Okay, so same thing, I pop the grip, I drag, I pull my knees to my chest, but this time, I try to get out of his way, okay? But the same grip, I reach over and grab his lat. And now again, the big detail here is I don't try to take his back from here. The first thing I do is a small hip escape so that I cover his shoulder. So look, I grab and I do my little hip escape. See, and now I can relock. Now I've covered his shoulder. I don't need this anymore. I can let this go, he can't recover his arm. You see? So now I open my elbow nice and wide, I build up to my hand, okay? Then I'm gonna come all the way up, and now I cover his hips. So I just shift, and now we're taking the back from here, okay? So that was week one. Week two, we did like an overhook series, okay? So for this one, again, I showed you different ways you can establish the overhook. You can use the same grip, or you can go same side collar grip and undercut here and catch the overhook, okay? But let's say I do this one. I pop, I swim my hand underneath, pull, and catch his arm, right? Now I'm gonna go in and try to catch his collar. Pinching my elbow nice and tight to control his arm, okay? Once I have the arm control, guys, my other hand goes to his bicep. And my goal is to get my knee between his arm and his body. So look, I just do a little hip escape, and I bring my knees inwards towards my chest and step on his hip, okay? Once we're here, now I can push his arm away, step on his bicep, and go right for my triangle. Okay? Then we had, from the same scenario, let's go right back to the overhook. So from the overhook, now let's imagine I'm trying to push, I'm trying to get my knees in, but Rubens keeps his elbow nice and tight, okay? And I'm not able to free. So now, look guys, all I'm gonna do is like start extending my hips and letting go of the collar. Look, extend my hips. Grab his elbow, pass my foot over his face, and now we have the omoplata, okay? Make sense? Finish the omoplata, okay? That was week two. Week three, then we did like the Padre Gracie style arm bar. Okay, so I would make a cross grip on his sleeve. My other hand would go over his arm and into his collar. And again, the big detail here, guys, is I need to trap his arm. Okay, so what I'm doing is when I make the collar grip, look how I do like this kind of lateral crunch and open my elbow. See, so what I'm trying to do is make sure he cannot pull his arm out. Okay, so from here, it's gonna be very difficult for Rubens to extract his arm. Now my goal is to jump my leg over his shoulder. There's two ways to do this. Okay, one, if I feel like I can do it from here, I just open and jump my hips up and reclose the legs. Okay, making sure I'm pinching my knees together. Now his arm is trapped. If the guy maybe has bigger shoulders or I just don't feel like I have the right angle, I can step on his hip, shift, and jump his shoulder. But don't skip that step, guys. Jump the shoulder and pinch. Now I can punch him away as I move my head offline, jump my leg over, not crossing my feet, guys. Pinching my heels down and extending my hips upward, okay? Then we did the one. Now my opponent's able to stand. Okay, so I make double sleeve grips for this one, right? So he's able to stand. When he stands, now I'm gonna drop my butt underneath him and pull him forward, right? You guys remember this one, the overhead sweep? So I drop my butt underneath, pinch my knees together, and kick him forward. Okay, once I get him going forward, I just start lifting my knees, boom, until I'm up, okay? That was sweep 3. And then last week we did the lumberjack or muscle sweep, okay? So now for the 4th week, maybe we're playing collar sleeve, whatever grip you guys are playing, he starts to stand, and I go cross grip and under his leg and pull myself in nice and tight to his leg. Now I'm gonna bump his knee outward and try to clip his heel off the mat. Boom. Okay, guys, again, the big detail here, when I do this one, when I come up to my hand, it's not just posturing up with my upper body, watch my hips. So I put my hand down, I come up, and my hips come up, right? Now I can start walking, turning my foot behind me. And this comes in really handy if he tries to block me with my hips up, right? Because now I can actually attack his arm bar, or the arm bar. So 1, 2, go underneath, I bump, bang, and I'm up. Okay, now he tries to block, you see? So now I go switch to his hand here, chamber my knee, and I rotate down towards the floor, grabbing his wrist. Boom. If he tries to roll, I follow, throw my foot over, and finish the arm. Okay? Understand? Okay, guys, per usual on review week, you do not do all of those techniques. Pick 1 or 2, maybe the ones that you had trouble with, or maybe the ones that you really liked and you want to link another technique to it, and start drilling those out, okay? You got all week, so maybe you can do 2 today, 2 tomorrow, and so on until you cover them all, okay? Cool? Yeah? All right, let's go.